Hey there, fifth graders. Welcome to your next math lesson. Now, hopefully you already watched the video where I explained how to multiply mixed numbers. Now we're just going to do some more examples together. So let's just jump right in here. Let's say we have 1 1/3 times 2 2/3. Okay, here we have a mixed number times a mixed number. And as you saw in the last video, the first thing we have to do is change both mixed numbers into improper fractions. And the way we do that is by multiplying the whole number times the denominator and adding the numerator. That gives us our new numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So that's our new numerator, and the denominator 3 stays the same. Times 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8, and the denominator 3 stays the same. And the next step is cross cancel. Now, you can't always cross cancel. Like 8 and 3 have no common factors, and 4 and 3 have no common factors. So we can't cross cancel this time. Our next step is multiply straight across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 4 times 8 is 32, and 3 times 3 is 9. And as you can see, this is an improper fraction. The numerator's bigger than the denominator, which means we have to change it into a mixed number by dividing the denominator into the numerator. 9 can fit into 32 3 times, because 9 times 4 is 36. That's too big. 3 times 9 is 27. 32 minus 27 is 5. Whatever your remainder is, that becomes your new numerator. The divisor is your denominator. So the final answer here is 3 5/9. We can't simplify 5/9 because 5 and 9 will have no common factors greater than 1. Okay, let's do another example together. Let's say we had 2/5 times 2 3/4. So here we have a fraction times a mixed number. So we don't have to change 2/5, but we do have to change 2 3/4 into a mixed number. And we do that by multiplying 2 times 4, that's 8, and then we add the 3, that gets us to 12, and the denominator 4 stays the same. And we'll just write 2/5 down here so we can multiply it easier. Our next step is cross cancel. 2 can fit into itself once, and it can fit into 4 2 times. Okay, and we can't cross cancel 5 and 12. Now 1 times 12 is 12, 5 times 2 is 10. And now, as you can see, 12/10, most of your answers on these will be improper fractions. 12/10 is an improper fraction, so we have to change it into a mixed number by dividing the denominator 10 into the numerator 12. 10 can fit into 12 one time. 1 times 10 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. The remainder becomes our numerator. The divisor is our denominator, 1 2/10. But as you can see, 2/10 can be simplified because 2 and 10 both share 2 as a factor. So now we divide 2 and 10 by the GCF 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 2/10 simplifies to 1/5. And now that fraction needs to be given back to its whole number because the answer is a mixed number. And so the final answer is 1 1/5. Let's do another example. Let's do 3 3/5 times 1/4. So this is another mixed number times a fraction. And we have to change this mixed number into an improper fraction. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18. So 18/5, because the denominator stays the same, times 1/4. And you can't cross cancel with 5 and 1, but you can with 18 and 4. Because even though 4 can't fit evenly into 18, 2 can fit evenly into both 18 and 4. So 2 can fit into 4 2 times, and 2 can fit into 18 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. And this one can't be simplified. The numerator is not bigger than the denominator, so it doesn't need to be changed into a mixed number. And 9 and 10 will have no common factors greater than 1. Now let's say you look at 9/10 and you can't tell that there's no common factors. In that situation, you can just try to simplify it and see what happens, because if it can't be simplified, you'll see that once you try to find the greatest common factor. So if we list the factors for 9, it's 1 and 9 because 1 times 9 is 9, and it's 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. There's no other factors of 9. And for 10, it's 1 and 10 because 1 times 10 is 10, and 2 and 5 because 2 times 5 is 10. Now look what happens when you try to find the GCF. There's no common factor above 1, which means 1 is the greatest common factor, and that's how you know 9/10 is already in simplest form. So when in doubt, just try to simplify it. If there's no common factor greater than 1, that means it's already in simplest form. Okay, let's do another one. 1 and 1/3 times 3 and 2/3. We have a mixed number times a mixed number here. 1 times 3 is 3. Plus 1 is 4, so 1 and 1/3 changes to 4/3. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So 3 and 2/3 changes to 11/3. And now we can't cross cancel 4 and 3, and we can't cross cancel 3 and 11, so there's no cross canceling here. 4 times 11 is 44. 3 times 3 is 9. And 44/9 is an improper fraction, so we have to change it into a mixed number by dividing the denominator 9 into the numerator 44. Now 9 can only fit into 44 4 times, since 9 times 5 is 45, and that's too big. 4 times 9 is 36. Now we have 44 minus 36. You could borrow from the 4, make it a 3, making the 4 a 14. And 14 minus 6 is 8. And so now the remainder 8 becomes our numerator, and 9 is our denominator. So the answer is 4 and 8/9. 8/9 is already in simplest form, so there's no simplifying necessary. Let's do a few more examples together. I'm going to turn this page over. Let's do 4 and 2/5 times 1 and 3/4. We multiply 4 times 5, that's 20, plus 2 is 22. The denominator 5 stays the same. Times 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. The denominator 4 stays the same. We can't cross cancel with 5 and 7 since there will be no common factors greater than 1, but we can cross cancel with 4 and 22. 4 and 22 are both even numbers, so we know they at least share 4 as a greatest common factor. I mean, as a common factor. Did I say 4? We know they at least share 2 as a common factor. Now, that's actually the greatest common factor because you can't divide 3 into 4 and 22, and you can't divide 4 evenly into 22. So 2 is the GCF. 2 can fit into 4 2 times. 2 can fit into 22 11 times. Now we multiply straight across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 11 times 7 is 77. 5 times 2 is 10. And as you can see, 77/10 is an improper fraction, so we have to change it into a mixed number by dividing the denominator 10 into the numerator 77. 10 can fit into 77 7 times, since 10 times 7 is 70. That gets us closest without going over. 7 times 10 is 70. 77 minus 70 is 7. 7, the remainder, is our new numerator. The denominator is 10. So the answer is 7 and 7/10. 7/10 is already in simplest form, so we don't need to simplify it. Okay, let's do one more example, and then I'll give you some independent practice problems. 2 and 4/5 times 6 and 1/8. We have to change these mixed numbers into improper fractions. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. 14/5 because the denominator 5 stays the same. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 1 is 49. 49/8 because the denominator stays the same. 5 and 49 can't be simplified, but 8 and 14 can. So, 5 and 49 can't be cross-canceled is what I meant to say. But you can cross-cancel with 8 and 14. because they're both even numbers. So you know they're both divisible by 2. So 2 can fit into 14 7 times. 2 can fit into 8 4 times. Now we have 7 times 49. You might want to use your scratch paper for that. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 6 is 34. So 334. So 7 times 49 is 300. Did I say 34? It's 343. And then 5 times 4 is 20. So now we have 343 divided by 20. 20 can fit into 34 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. 34 minus 20, 4 minus 0 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now we bring down the 3. 2 can fit into 14 7 times, so perhaps 20 can fit into 143 7 times. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 2 is 14. 143 minus 140 is 3. So that's our remainder. It becomes our numerator, and 20 is our denominator. So the answer is 17 3/20. Okay, that one took a lot of work, didn't it? Whoops. Now I'm going to give you some independent practice ones. I'd like you to do, I'm going to go ahead and put a line right here. And I'd like you to do 1 5/6 times 4 1/3. Okay, and then I'd also like you to do 2 1/4 times 1 3/5. Go ahead and do both of those independently, and then click on the next video attached under this one to see if you did them correctly. I will see you there. Signing off.